Hi students, Ms. Hanson here. It's springtime. That means it's time for seniors to take the COMPASS test. Remember that the COMPASS test is not a pass-fail test. It's a placement test for college level readiness. And you should learn to do your best on this type of test because if your placement indicates remedial courses are needed, you'll be paying for those and not receiving credit for them towards your degree. Thus, you're wasting not only time, but your hard-earned money. So here are some goals for you for the next couple of days. I'm going to share with you what's on the COMPASS test and what it looks like. I'm going to give you some hints that will help you be more successful on the COMPASS test. You're going to complete one paper practice, which you'll be turning in today, and you'll complete some online practices. And what you're going to need today is a paper copy of the writing practice, which you should already have, or come see me if you don't, a highlighter, and a pen or a pencil. Alright, so let's get started. The COMPASS test for writing is based on some short passages with possible sentence errors. The passage is on one side of the page and the possible corrections on the other. The actual test looks a little different from what you see here on this paper practice. However, very shortly you'll be working on a practice that does look like the real one. Here are some hints for doing well on this part of the COMPASS test. You'll notice in the possible corrections for each short piece of the passage that a lot of the wording is exactly the same. Now, the part that's exactly the same is not the part they want you to look at. Instead, it's the part of each possible correction that varies, the parts that are different that are the most important. For instance, here's a passage and some corrections. Bangladesh's economy is based primarily on small-scale enterprises. Now, instead of viewing all those similarities as something meant to confuse you as you look at the corrections, view them in this way. Here's another version where I've highlighted the part of the text that's the same for each correction. I highlighted those in green. I highlighted in yellow the part that varies in each one, the part that's different in each one. This is the part that they want you to look at. And if you can isolate the differences, then you can start to see what kind of mistake is probably in the sentence. In this case, based on the yellow parts that vary, in this case it looks like apostrophes. So now I can start to think about apostrophe rules. Well, let's see. I know that apostrophes are used to make contractions for words like can't and didn't and don't and won't, but that's not the case here. The other time we use an apostrophe is to indicate ownership of something. Something belongs to someone else. So what belongs to what here? Well, here it's the economy that belongs to Bangladesh. It's Bangladesh's economy. Whatever's doing the owning also owns the apostrophe. So this sentence should read Bangladesh's economy, because the economy is owned by Bangladesh. And if you look at your possible choices, that would be answer A. If you look at the other answers, they all have the word economy with an apostrophe. But the economy doesn't own anything, Bangladesh does. So in this case, I would choose answer A. Now you'll notice on your paper copy of this passage that letter A is actually just like the original. And on the COMPASS test, there'll always be an answer that's just like the original. Here's another example. Ran by self-employed men and women. Okay. Once I isolate the parts that vary, and I've done that by highlighting again, it's plain to see that it's the verb run or ran that's in question. So now I know what to focus on. So which one do I use? In this case, I'm going to look at the previous sentence to help me. Bangladesh's economy is based primarily on small-scale enterprises run or ran by self-employed men and women. Would I say have run? Which one of those would I use? Well, in this case, the economy is based on small-scale enterprises that are run by self-employed men and women. They are run by them. So I would choose the correct answer based on that. Now you're about to see a picture of a cat sitting on a pause button. When you see this, you're going to hit pause on this video. You're going to use the highlighter to find the part of each passage on your paper copy that's varied. Find the part that they want you to focus on and highlight it. And use this information to complete the paper version of the practice test by circling the correct answer. Once you've done that, return to the video and continue playing it for the next steps. Good luck! Alright, welcome back. The answers you'll see on the screen now. You can pause and check them yourself, or I'll read them aloud for you real quick and you can check and see how you did. I don't want you to focus on how many of these you missed, however. Okay, this is just a practice. What we're going to do here in just a minute is talk about how you can use what you missed to your advantage when you're doing the practices. Okay, here are the answers. 1 is A, 2 is B, 3 is A, 4 is A, 5 is D, 6 is B, 7 is C, 8 is A, 9 is E, 10 is A, 11 is C, 12 is D, 13 is B, 14 is E, 15 is A, 16 is D, 17 is B, 18 is E, 19 is A, 20 is C, 21 is A, 22 is C, 23 is D, and 24 is A. So now we're going to think about the now what part of practicing for the compass test. Now that you've done a quick practice and you did well, you did okay, or you did poorly, how am I going to use a practice test to help me get ready for the real test? Well, here's something that we're going to do. Online in just a minute, you're going to go to a test that actually looks like the compass test. On the left-hand side is the actual passage, and you can scroll up and down to view it all. Make sure you do that so you understand that, you know, how long the actual piece is. In the instructions, which are on the right, you're told to read the passage looking for errors in punctuation, grammar, and style. When you locate an error, click in that essay on the spot and choose the best answer. Work through the entire essay. I've had many students who begin the process but actually skip sentences on the essay, thinking that if they're correct they don't need to choose an answer. But you do. You'll notice on the left side of the passage that each sentence, you'll notice when I click on each one, that a piece of the sentence will come up. This is very similar to the practice that you did where parts of it were underlined and numbered for you, but in this case you have to click on every sentence on the list. You won't be able to actually use a highlighter when you take the compass test because it is, unfortunately, all digital. But again, if you can take a minute, try to isolate for yourself the part of those answers that's the same and the part that varies. Focus on the part that varies, and then you'll be able to figure out what it is they want you to try to correct. So you'll go through each of the sentences one by one, and again, it's very important that you don't miss any. You'll go through the sentences and click appropriately. You'll look at the answer and choose the correct answer. And then when you're finished editing, you'll tell it that you're done. Now, for the purposes of this practice, if you happen to miss a sentence, it's going to tell you this is incomplete. Before submitting it, you have to choose an answer for each item. On the compass test itself, you may not be told this, so you've got to make sure that you go back and get every single question answered. Remember, there's a scroll down and scroll up on the screen. Once you're done and it's complete for this practice, it's going to tell you how many you missed, how many you got correct. I just randomly chose things. My score is 18%. Here's, though, where doing a practice like this particular online practice is really beneficial. We don't care what score you got. What you're trying to do is to learn to do better on the test. Here's what you can do. When you scroll back up to the top, you'll notice that each answer that you missed is highlighted in a different color, and that in front of each one is a question mark. When you click on that question mark, it's going to give you a hint about why you missed the question. It kind of talks you through what it was that they were looking for, and it gives you a hint about what the correct answer is. The idea with this practice is that when you can see what you missed and why you missed it, you can take that information in and use it the next time. You'll also know, based on the information in those questions and those question marks, the type of questions that you'll be asked about on the Compass test. So once you've finished doing this practice, go back, look at the question that you missed, see what it says about it, and then make the appropriate correction. Alright, now I'd like you to go back to the main Moodle page section on Compass practice tests and complete a few of the practices. Remember, we're not concerned about the score in this practice. We're trying to learn from the questions that we do miss. Alright, good luck. Come see me if you have any questions. And then this will be the end of the writing practice part.